Hey everybody, Jeff Reinhardt here, LMP and Lancaster Online. Welcome to the Week 9 edition of the LL Football Roundtable, brought to you by Bobby Ray Hall Lexus, coming to you from War Memorial in Ephrata. What an awesome place this is. Here to catch up with the Mounts, who are in a pretty cool position here with 2 weeks to go. Non-league game this week against Muhlenberg. Big Week 10 game with E-Town coming up. And they are right there on the line to make the postseason, which is a big deal in these parts because it's been a while since Ephrata has been to district. So I thought this would be a cool week to come over here and chat with the Mounts. Everything Ephrata. Let's bring in Coach Chris Miller. Hello, Chris. How are you? Nice to see you. Thanks for having us.
Thanks, Jeff. Thanks for coming out. We always love having you here at War Memorial, and look forward to this week.
Absolutely. Okay. Coach speak, coach speak, day at a time, Jeff, week at a time, Jeff. But I think you got to really stress it here because you know where you are. You're right on the line to make postseason, and it's been a while. What do you stress to your guys here in a week like this where you must take care of business?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're pretty out in the open with the kids that it's been 1987 since the last time that Ephrata made our only district playoff appearance. I was 2 years old at the time, and our kids weren't even born. So I mean, that's definitely something we talked about because we've been knocking on the doors here probably since, I guess, 2019 was we finished like .00 something out of districts, and then we had the COVID year, and then last year kind of things fell off the rails at the end of the year. It was kind of neat to go through that experience last year because that became a kind of a rally cry for this season, that we had everything in our control and we controlled our own destiny, and we lost our last 3 games and didn't get the job done. So that's kind of been ever since the Garden Spot loss that we lost. It's been like, hey, look, from here on out, every game's a district playoff game. We have to win, and if we do that, we can control our own destiny. You lose at this point in the season, then you're hoping and praying that someone else loses, and that's a tough game to play. And when you have the opportunity, you got to take it and control what you can control and get the job done.
Muhlenberg first, game at a time. I'm sure Coach is preaching that. It's a team you've seen. You played them last year, beat them here pretty good. What are you expecting for Friday? Because you cannot get caught looking ahead here. You got to take care of what you do best here and do Ephrata stuff. How important is that?
It's very important. I think we're going to get a dogfight. I think they're going to try and come in and destroy our senior night, but we're just going to fight back and try not let that happen.
It's going to be a good game. I mean, they're going to probably give us all they got because I don't really think they're in districts right now, but if you can ruin someone's chance to make districts, I bet you're going to try and do it.
What's the locker room like? What are the bus rides like? What's the camaraderie like with this crew? Fun bunch?
Oh, yeah. We're all fun. If you look at the game, we're all fun. Even though we're all athletes, we all just want to have fun. We all want to win. We're sick of having 10 weeks and only guaranteeing 10 weeks. We want more than 10 weeks. Even if we lose or win, we want one more district. We want a district game. And this seniors, it means a lot to us. We want a district game really bad. And I think we put ourselves in a good opportunity to get one. We just got to keep winning and keep worrying about 1 week at a time.
And we are back from Ephrata in the friendly confines of the studio for the LL Football Roundtable. Thanks to the folks at Ephrata and Rhines and Tyler for getting that report. And we're headed to Week 9. My name is Mike Gross, and I host this deal. It is the LL Football Roundtable, brought to you by Bobby Ray Hall Lexus. Seated to my left, John Walk. Seated to my right, the Rhines. They cover high school football for our publications. And first of all, we want to say something about Ephrata because going for the playoffs.
Yeah. Ephrata has not been to the playoffs since I was a junior in high school.
Yeah.
It's been a while. 1987.
Year I was born.
The LL, the Lancaster Lebanon League, sort of reconfigured its league to give 2 schools a chance, Ephrata and Lebanon, to kind of pick themselves up because they had fallen and they couldn't get up. They were really down.
True. Ephrata
is not down anymore.
Yeah, Ephrata's definitely back up.
That's pretty cool.
They've been great. They've been this close the last couple of years. They missed by like .0003.
And why shouldn't Ephrata win in football? Think of their baseball. That's
sure. Good athletes in the building.
Yeah.
5A. There's lots of kids playing sports
anyway,
there.
Let's talk about what you witnessed last week.
Okay, let's start with Ephrata quick. Andre Weidman, you just saw him there in the pace. Strapping young man who's going to end up playing college football. His last 2 games have been crazy. 185 yards and 3 touchdowns last week against Twin Valley. The week before, I might have mentioned this, he rushed for 382, single game program record. put him over 1,000 yards, and he's closing in on the school's all-time touchdown mark. He already holds the rushing mark, and he went over 1,000. So second straight 1,000-yard season for Mr. Weidman.
That's pretty strong.
Yeah, and he's healthy now. He had a lower body thing earlier this season, but he's looking good. So go, I can't root, but go Mouse. They have a shot to make the playoffs for the first time in however many years.
I believe
crazy.
the quote there was, "I can't root, go Mouse."
Go Mouse.
I don't know. I don't know what to do with it.
1987, that's crazy. Second point from last week, Exeter. That was the game of the week last week. We hyped it. Exeter 44, Hempfield 22.
Yeah, that was really impressive and surprising to me.
They were great. And
Not that they won, but
True.
but how thorough.
True, and it wasn't really that close. Sorry, Knights, but Exeter really played great. They had a pick six. Richie Karstein rushed for 212 and 4 touchdowns. Exeter goes to 8-0. If they win this week, and if Mannheim Central wins this week, they'll both be 9-0. They play next week in Mannheim for the section championship, but they got to get there. Lastly, Columbia. We haven't talked a ton about Columbia this year. Last year it was Footman and the whole crew. Beat Northern Lebanon last week, 12-6, kind of a baseball score, but they snapped the 5-game losing skid. Dominic Diaz-Ellis, the really good all-star wideout, looks like he's going to play quarterback. They've had 3 or 4 kids take snaps this year. Dominic last week, touchdown run, touchdown pass. Columbia gets off the schneid with a win over Northern Lebanon. They have a tricky game this week with Kutztown. So week 8 done.
Tyler seems unusually chipper this week. What is it? Oh, he's an Exeter guy.
That's it.
All right. John, your thoughts on what you witnessed last week?
I went to Elko to see Lampeter Strasburg for the second week in a row. Lampeter Strasburg, boom, jumps out to a hot start again. Trent Wagner, the quarterback, what a great night for him. 5 touchdowns, I believe. And he did it in all various ways. I'm going back looking over the scoring just to refresh my brain. First one down the left sideline, 55-yard pass to Dean Herr. Comes back out next drive. Stop and go down the right sideline, Hunter Hildenbrand, 40-yard bomb. Next one, a 42-yard pass over the middle to Hunter Hildenbrand into the end zone as a touchdown. 1, 2, 3, and then the fourth was a simple 2-yard out to Hildenbrand in the front left corner there, and what do you know, it's 28-0. Wagner comes back out, I think the second play from scrimmage to start the third quarter, and finds Dean Herr again, 25-yard touchdown pass from Wagner. So 5 touchdowns, another great night from Wagner, also another great night from Hildenbrand. Yep. They had basically had no answer, did Elko defensively to put a lid on those
and they
receivers.
Can't play from behind, and it's got to be starting to wear on them a little bit now because they're into this section play against some and they're really up against some heavyweights. But LS is a program, man. They get better as the year goes on. They're both sides of the ball. They develop the quarterback position.
Their defense is just dominant.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
That was their 3rd shutout, and they got to take care of their business here. They have Weiser, which can do some tricky things, but they need to win to get to the YO game next Saturday for the Section 5 title.
Wow. Yeah, there's 2 really heavyweights on the next week, but we'll get to that next week. All right, let's look ahead. We're going to feature a couple of games, 4 games, not a couple, 4. Let's start with Garden Spot and E-Town. Your thoughts, Jeffrey?
Yeah, that's probably the best local game this week. Spot 2 losses, E-Town 1 loss. They're still both very much in line for 5A playoff spots.
Yep.
And E-Town's just a game behind Solanco. So Solanco, if they get tripped up here in the last 2 weeks, E-Town can maybe jump up there and get a tie. Both of these offenses average 400-plus yards a game. Josh Rudy, the E-Town quarterback last week, passed for 365 and 6 touchdowns.
Boom.
Hello. He's up to 2,200 passing yards, first in the league, 23 touchdowns, first in the league. Braden Cummings leads the league in every receiving category possible. Logan Lentz needs 25 yards for 1,000. So they've been so balanced.
And yet, Garden Spot probably is more pass-dominated than E-Town is.
Could be. Harding's been really good dual threat for Garden Spot. He's got a shot here. He needs 190 some odd rushing yards to rush for 1,000 and pass for 1,000. He's already 1,500.
He's a little dude.
Yeah, he's just one of those dual threat guys, and he can scamper. Athlete. And when he gets out of the contain or whatever, and the pocket collapses, he's gone. Fun game. This first one to 50 wins. I don't know.
District 3 5A bracket.
Yeah.
Top 12 teams make it. Entering this week, E-Town's number 5, Spot's number 9.
Yeah.
So big game for both of them.
Big game for positioning, jockeying, for a seed. Tons of offense in that game. If it's a nice night Friday, no rain, no wind, look out.
Game number 2, Hempfield and Cedar Crest. A year ago, this was in a somewhat similar situation. The Cedar Crest game was sandwiched between like Hempfield and Wilson.
Right,
I mean, Township and Wilson for Hempfield.
Yep.
And we had a spirited discussion on this show about whether it was a trap game.
Yeah.
I thought it was. Didn't have the courage to call it, and it turned out to be. Cedar Crest found a way to win.
Yes, they did.
Similar situation. What do you think, John?
And Hempfield is coming off one of the toughest losses of the season.
Oh, yeah.
And this one, you were there for that one against Exeter last week.
That's what makes this different.
A non-league loss, and it makes me wonder, okay, coming off a big win against, Wilson earlier in the season against the Township, that, Hempfield, okay, we got this section crown wrapped up, we're coming off this emotional win, we're going to Exeter. It doesn't really mean anything for us. And Exeter takes it to them. I know I was at the Central York game when Hempfield lost to them, and Hempfield was in the game until the last 4 minutes. This wasn't the case last Friday.
No, and as soon as I got to Ager after the game, he's like, got to flush it. He says, non-league, it stinks we lost. But he said, man, we got these 2 league games, and, we have a chance to do something we haven't done since 1994, win an outright section championship. So Hempfield's got to defend this Jackson Custer kid for Cedar Crest. Jay Huber, sorry to hear, ACL.
Out for the year with an injury.
ACL. And
A
he's gonna
good
have surgery.
quarterback who
yeah.
was getting a little bit of college interest, I understand. Senior, done for the year, unfortunately.
That's
However,
too bad. But this Custer kid, 7 touchdown passes, no picks. Sophomore. He's the top-ranked rated passer among Section 1 passers. He's been really good. They've hung some numbers up here under him the last couple of weeks. Hempfield can't look ahead here, guys. I mean, they have it's all on the table for them. Cliche alert, but they need 2 wins. They have Crest and Reading both on the road. Win them both, you win your section.
There you go.
And get somewhere 2-3 seed range probably in 6A.
Yeah, it's pretty straightforward.
Yep.
They know what they have to do. Their work's cut out for them.
It is.
I've got all these cliches and I'm using them. God love me. All right, Anvil, Cleona, Schuylkill Valley. Now this is an interesting game.
Oh, yeah.
Because Schuylkill Valley has been so good. I don't know that we fully saw that coming. John,
Schuylkill Valley enters this week 6-2 overall and 5-0 in LL Section 5. If they win this, they stay unbeaten in league play and possibly contend with Lancaster Catholic the following week for the Section 5 crown. However, there's a very good chance Cleona could go on the road, pull off the upset, mild upset. I think Anvil's a pretty good team.
Yeah.
It's going to be lots of running. You talk about cliches. Face the Music, Phoenix Music from Anvil Cleona versus Dom Jeffrey from Schuylkill Valley. 2 guys who can just run the ball lights out. I was looking at the defensive numbers coming into this one. AC run defense giving up 180 per game. Schuylkill Valley run defense giving about 130 per game. So Schuylkill Valley has the edge there. However, before we got into this recording, Mr. Reinhardt said, don't be surprised Anvil goes in there and comes out the dub.
I don't know for whatever reason. Schuylkill Valley's been great. They've won 6 in a row. Bruce Harbach, you knew he was going to go in there, and they were going to be better.
He's won a couple of state championships.
Yeah, he was going to get in there and get it turned around quick. And
they started 0-2. They've since won 6 in a row.
6 in a row, and they beat Hamburg in the Frost Bowl. 41-34, close game, but Jeffrey ran all over him. I don't know. This is a huge game, and Gingrich
it's not a trap. It's not a trap. I don't think that applies. But there's an element of that in the way this schedule plays out for Schuylkill Valley.
Seems like it, yes, because they have Catholic next week. I'll tell you, Tommy Long, by the way, next week.
He's the
Schuylkill Valley
athletic director.
he does this. Yeah, Lancaster Catholic, Schuylkill Valley next week, Exeter Mannheim Central next week, and YOLS next week. All in week 10. All
he
those
schedules
games are
the football
tied.
Yeah, he's the athletic director. He's the
week
football chairman, and he had a lot to do. He was the single person who I think had the most to do with putting this whole thing together in this first year with these 37 teams.
Yeah,
so that's
a great way to go, Tommy. I don't know if you lucked into that one, but all the first place teams, except Hempfield, they all play next week.
That sounds like a good June, July type of story of sitting down with Tommy with just sheets of paper of who plays where. I remember watching videos.
That's your photo op.
The
Tommy with
NFL
paper.
schedule guy doing that. So
Now, here's a game that is a much different matchup than it would have been a year ago.
Probably,
That's,
yes.
to say the least. Manheim Central, Governor Mifflin.
Yeah.
Right.
We were not that this won't be a bad game, and hopefully it's a good game. We thought this was going to be like game of the year material, okay, but Nick Singleton's not walking through that door. Miflin's retooling a little bit. Central, I thought this would be a good opportunity just to drop some Central stuff. They've been unbelievable.
Yeah, they've had a tremendous year.
Just incredible here. Zach Hahn, 21 touchdowns, almost 65-70% completions. Bryson Armold, 1,200 plus rushing yards, 20 touchdowns. Aaron Ennerline averaging 30 yards a catch on 24 catches.
Yeah.
That's a pretty big sample size. They're just blowing teams out. Their last 3 games, 201-7. Now they haven't
Yeah,
played.
they've been dominant on both sides of the ball,
Yeah.
and throwing it and running it,
Yes.
and stopping the run and the pass. Yeah, it's been pretty complete.
Second in the league in offense, 430 or something. Like 5th in the league in defense with like all kinds of takeaways and funky numbers. Have they played the greatest schedule? I don't know.
Well, that would be a fair thing to say, and of course they'll get the opportunity. It's coming. They're going to get the
Absolutely.
opportunity.
Exeter's played pretty much the same section schedule.
Here's another thing about that: 430 yards a game from offense. Part of that is it would be more than that if not for the mercy rule.
Exactly. And they've had mercy
Maybe
rule
considerably
games.
more than
Yeah,
that.
2 of their last 3 games are shutouts,
Yeah.
and all 3 were mercy rules.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry, nothing against Muhlenberg and Lebanon. Those teams are struggling a little bit, but you got to play them. It's on the schedule. And Central they have taken no prisoners. Got to stop Mifflin's veer. Delson McNeil's a pretty good pitchman kid. Brandon Jones can run the ball fullback. Aiden Martin's gone to Monmouth. He's finally healthy. Popped a punt return touchdown last week, rushed for 100 yards. So Mifflin's gotten a little better here. Their O-line's gotten a little better as they've come along. Was hoping this would be a monster game. We all did, but Mifflin's struggling a smidge. But the Barons are just
For what it's
Another
worth,
planet.
2 weeks earlier, Mifflin lost to Conestoga Valley, I think 34-31, and then Central took it to CV kind of the following week.
Oh yeah, I'm
That's
sure
pretty
there's a
terrible.
few of those comparable
48
opponents.
nothing,
Yeah.
49 nothing, something
Yeah.
like that. So you can just sense it. Central's gearing up for something here, and Exeter next week, and then they're in 4A. Don't forget.
Yeah,
So they
that's
got to
right.
cross paths with an LS and a McDevitt, and
Yeah,
McDevitt's
that's right.
coming along
That's right.
just
So
fine.
anyway, this week sort of feels like the calm before the storm
Smidge.
a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
And next week, week 10, when we meet again, we will really get into some of these heavyweight matchups that are coming and the postseason implications of those. Looking forward to that.
Yes.
This is week 9. Enjoy it. This has been the LL Football Roundtable, brought to you by Bobby Ray Hall Lexus. I'm Mike Gross. He's John Walk. He's Jeff Reinhardt. See you later.